Lloyd annoyingly says he always gets more work when things start to get a little relaxing, but declares that he won't let anyone or anything stop his dream of enjoying life. However, as he's wearily lying on his bed, he admits the fact that he has incurred another great debt is in the way of that dream. Anork notices Officer Greg flirting with a girl and angrily asks how he could do that when he already has Emily. He charges forward to attack him, but Greg swiftly punches him in the face as it's revealed that Frontier of Viscount's soldiers are now able to control the power of mana, and they're strong enough to take on 10 enemies by themselves, but they mainly use that strength in shoveling. Greg and the orc get ready and rush towards each other, but Bairn suddenly appears and tells off Greg for wasting his time during work hours. A while later, a huge crowd of people gather in front of Lloyd's estate and declare that they'll work for him, even if they don't receive any pay. However, Lloyd tells them to not even think of working for him for free because he'll write them all a contract now. Meanwhile, the great Sultan Samarkand receives information about Viscount Frontier's town and worryingly questions what the hell is up with that place. A noble is menacingly ordering two men to keep beating each other up, but he suddenly reacts with shock as Lloyd appears beside him. Lloyd says he wants to join in as well and tells the noble to fight him before suddenly punching him in the face. Before leaving, Lloyd tells the two men to look for Sir Bairn Frontier since they're residents of that place from today. Later, Lloyd suddenly appears at Viscount Lacona's door and tells him he's going to flatten his land to build a quarry, shocking him. Lloyd announces to his workers that it's time to begin constructing a highway that leads from the quarry to their country. However, the men see that Viscount Lacona's mansion is in the way and destroy it. Lloyd is wondering what they can do about the sludge and suddenly remembers something. He heads to the blacksmith and asks him to make armor out of the Alenzia tree sap since Xavier is going to capture a dragon for him. In a faraway cave, a female dragon wearily says he needs to craft beautiful jewels so she can feed them to his hatchlings, but he isn't able to do it since he's only good at crushing things. Lloyd and Xavier suddenly appear in front of the dragon, Solidus, and he's about to offer him a proposal, but Solidus angrily breathes fire at them. Xavier asks what they should do now, so Lloyd tells him to defeat Solidus. He shockingly sees that Xavier is fine despite taking his fire breath head-on and brings down his claw to attack him, but he swiftly dodges and rushes forward to fight him. He's surprised to see that he's actually not having much of a hard time with her, seeing which Xavier remarks that even in the novel where Xavier was much weaker than he is right now, he was still able to defeat Solidus despite having difficulty against him. Lloyd is surprised that Xavier can make a mana foothold in the air. Xavier attacks Solidus with Aura Blast. He starts screaming because of how much it stings, and it's revealed that Xavier has a menacing existence in Solidus' eyes right now. Solidus tries to stop Xavier since he has something important to tell him, but he swiftly bombards him with Aura Blasts. Solidus desperately uses Smoke Breath on Xavier and tries to run away and teleport in his human form, but he gets hit by lightning and remembers that he installed an anti-teleport trap. Lloyd steps forward and introduces himself, but Solidus tries to act as though he's an ordinary human, so Xavier attacks him with his sword. Seeing Solidus' expression, Lloyd angrily tells Xavier to get down on his knees and raise his hands to apologize to Solidus, so Xavier reluctantly complies. Lloyd creepily asks Solidus if he wants to get married since he can't make any decent jewelry, so Lloyd reveals that he'll get married in 10 years and convinces him to sign a contract if he wants to get married. Solidus hurriedly does it, after which Lloyd creepily stands over him and declares that everyone knows dragons that break contracts with humans will be punished by the Dragon King's breath, seeing which Solidus realizes he walked right into a trap. Later, the villagers see that Lloyd has returned with someone as he smilingly remarks that he's acquired a dragon. Lloyd takes Solidus to the blacksmith Corgidus and explains that according to the contract, Corgidus needs to teach him how to craft jewels, and Solidus will incinerate all the sludge within the excrete facilities once a day. Correctly guessing what Solidus is thinking, Lloyd reminds him that it'd be hard to get married if he loses the chance of learning jewels. Corgidus agrees to teach him, but asks if he'll be alright since he's a little harsh. As Solidus hurriedly runs to fetch some materials, Lloyd remembers all the disadvantageous contracts he was forced to sign in his past life, after which he's informed that he's changed another fate into something positive. As he's walking, the system states that it's impossible to count the number of lives he's saved, but Lloyd remarks that what he needs right now is his skill, since they're about to start the construction for the huge sewage system. Lloyd hurriedly levels up his skill and is surprised to see that he can use a 3D hologram to help with construction. Seeing this, Xavier asks what his excuse is for this, but says he doesn't need an answer right now since saving the country is more important, so Lloyd smilingly thanks him for believing in him. Bairn hypes up all the laborers and tells them to get ready to start making the sewer, and they determinedly start shouting, seeing which Lloyd mutters that they keep getting crazier. As the laborers start working, a holographic face of Lloyd suddenly appears above them and tells them to keep working, seeing which they happily start comparing what each other's hologram is saying. As Lloyd explains his plan to Bayern, he tells them to instruct their people to not agitate mastodons if they run into one. Later, Podong tells Lloyd he's found something strange, and Lloyd is surprised to see the corpse of a mastodon in a huge pit. He tells the laborers to continue digging and is shocked to see numerous mastodon corpses. He suddenly realizes what's happening and alarmingly tells everyone to get away before a huge explosion suddenly occurs in front of them. As everyone runs away, Baibion quickly shields Lloyd. Realizing what's happened, Solidus wonders if he should go and help, but sees that Xavier is rushing towards Lloyd and believes he'll be fine. Meanwhile, Lloyd hurriedly tries to wake Baibion up as the corpses of the mastodons suddenly awaken. Lloyd is shocked by the army of mastodons and questions if they were buried deeper than the ones that exploded. The mastodons suddenly roar and start charging towards them, seeing which Lloyd desperately tells everyone to get away. The White Cavalry get ready to face the mastodons, but Lloyd tells them to not do it, so they start running with everyone. Pobedong stands in front of the running humans and starts swiftly beating up the mastodons, but he slowly starts getting overwhelmed. However, Lloyd brings a child mastodon in front of them and madly declares that he'll turn it into a lump of meat in 5 seconds. As the mastodons start furiously charging towards him, Lloyd tells Podong they should go past the valley so that they can hide in the forest. As Podong is desperately running, Lloyd realizes they're catching up and hurriedly fires at them. However, he shockingly sees that there's just too many of them and wonders what'll happen if he fires discharge again and fires it into the mountain, but admits he can't do that since everything will collapse. Podong suddenly stops as they reach a dead end, stunning Lloyd. Lloyd quickly scans and sees that Podong won't be able to go up with his weight. He hurriedly wonders what he should do and calms himself down so that he can remember all his skills, the experiences he's been through, and the combination of those experiences and his estimated limits. Lloyd gets off Podong and fires 3 discharges towards the sky before collapsing. As the mastodons continue rushing towards Lloyd, the system states that supercharge has been activated, and he suddenly emits a powerful blast, disintegrating the mastodons. Lloyd focuses it towards the front and only absorbs the mastodon's mana. Lloyd remembers how he only tried to absorb Xavier's mana once, but it proved too much for his weak body, and he threw up blood before collapsing. Presently, he remarks that while he failed back then, it was still possible to decide on the target and direction. A while later, Lloyd finally stops and unlocks the skill, Undead Domination, so he victoriously tells the mastodons to kneel and they instantly fall to their knees. He throws a bean towards Podong and says they should head home now before they start walking over the mastodons' bodies. As Lloyd is walking over the mastodons, he suddenly receives a message stating that Undead Domination will only work as long as he's facing the mastodons, and another message appears, revealing that there are only 40 seconds left until his control over them ends. Lloyd desperately starts running away with Podong and the baby mastodon before his control of the mastodons finally ends and they all start charging towards them. Lloyd hurriedly shields Podong and the baby mastodon with his body before a rope suddenly pulls him into the sky as Xavier appears, on top of Coming. They start flying away as Xavier hurriedly slashes through the mountain wall beside them, making it collapse on the undead mastodons. As the mastodons explode, Coming lands above the mountain and acknowledges that Xavier saved his life. However, Xavier angrily reminds Lloyd that if he dies, the apartment and the sewer projects will end and the villagers' lives will be threatened. He tells him to cherish himself more because countless lives are hanging on his shoulders. Xavier and Lloyd start arguing before Lloyd sees that Xavier's respect for him has increased and mutters that all he needs to do is find evidence since he has a hunch and will make sure to take responsibility for the damage. As the laborers are digging a hole, Xavier mutters that this is like looking for a needle in the desert, but Lloyd remarks that he's sure the medium of sorcery used for the black magic is here. A messenger suddenly arrives, informing them that Count Crimo is here. Lloyd goes to meet him and is surprised to see Count Crimo ask him to marry his daughter. However, Lloyd sees the daughter's expression as she asks him to marry her. Lloyd's parents tell Crimo to consider what his daughter wants as well, so they agree and happily leave. Lloyd gravely realizes not marrying him was the happy ending as Xavier desperately tries to hold back his laughter, after which Lloyd rejects all the other marriage proposals he received as well. When an empress learns this, she remarks that she should keep an eye on who the Frontier family will choose since they'll become the strongest family in the countryside. During dinner, Bayern brings Lloyd a goat's head that they believe is connected to the incident, and Lloyd notices a pattern that was present in the novel. He remarks that the dark sorcerer Cannavaro is and tells Bayern to resume construction since he's going to Namoran soon. If you're enjoying Lloyd's journey so far, make sure to like the video and subscribe, and I'll see you all next time.